So the Modern Warfare 2 beta has finally concluded. As a fan of the franchise, I wanted to give my input. I played it on PS4 and PC pretty much every day that it was out to play. And this is coming from a huge fan of Modern Warfare 2019. I love everything, well, almost everything about that game. Even things that are controversial that people don't like, I either really like or I'm just averse to it. Like, I don't really care about it all that much. I won't get into it right now. It's not a Modern Warfare 2019 video. Just know that this is coming from someone who really enjoys that game. Starting with this game, obviously the most important thing, the gunplay, is perfect. It's just like the past Modern Warfare game. All the guns sound, feel great. It's just perfect. And the movement of Modern Warfare 2019 was pretty controversial. You know, we had slide canceling. It got pretty sweaty at times. But now we have not only the slide, which has been nerfed, but also the dolphin dive. And that's just so amazing that there's both a slide and a dolphin dive. You know, in previous games, as cool as the dolphin dive was, it was kind of useless. It didn't really contribute much to the gameplay. You were better off just running and jumping. In this game, I think it's so fun. It's so fun. I'm not going to be able to go back to Modern Warfare 2019 after playing this with the dolphin dive. Not only is it just faster, but the maps, the way they're designed, I'll talk about the map design later, but just the way that they're designed with elevation and stuff. And like, it seems like there's not even any fall damage, so you just dive off the ledges, off the windows, opening doors with the dolphin dive. It's just so much fun. There's also another movement mechanic where you can grab onto a ledge and peek with your pistol and shoot. It's pretty situational. There's only like one map, like the market map. There's like a wall in the middle where you can peep and shoot. I think that was really fun. But other than that, it's pretty situational. But yeah, really fun when it works. Now, map design is a lot more simple than Modern Warfare 2019. A lot of people complain that the Modern Warfare 2019 maps are too big. And I do kind of agree with that when you play Team Deathmatch or whatever. I think for objective-based modes like Hardpoint, I think it worked really well. But this game, all of the maps, at least the ones that were available, were a lot smaller, they were simpler, but they still had those like core things from Modern Warfare 2019 that made those maps really good. Like elevation, the farm map that has the middle, like that looks like a maze. There's the sides the one where there's the building where you could peek and shoot from there, and then the boxes on the other side. It just works really well. It's really fun, and that's probably the best map in the beta. But I think all the maps are good except for the museum one. I'll get into the bad parts later. We're talking about the good first. We're talking about the good. The perks are not really... I mean, the perk system... I do like the new perk system. It's interesting. It's different. But the perks themselves are a little samey. There's some... Like, they brought back Last Stand, which I find pretty funny. I'll get into that just in a second. But yeah, the perks are kind of the same, but I did like the perks from the last game, so that's fine. And I think the new system, when it works really well, it makes matches more engaging in the long run. Like if you're getting like a lot of kills and you're doing really good, and then all of a sudden, oh, you got a sleight of hand, or fast hand it's called in this game, you can reload faster now. It's like, oh, hell yeah. Like you just feel like you can get more kills now just because of like the progression of the perks, because you have 2 perks at first, and then you get another one, and then one big one. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with this. I'll get into it later. And now there's just a bunch of silly shit in this game. Just things that aren't even that useful, but are just really funny. And I love it. Like I just said, Last Stand, it's not as nearly as bad. Like when a COD player hears the word Last Stand, they get like PTSD flashbacks. It's not that bad. Because old Last Stand, someone would go down, and they'd pull out their pistol and shoot you. And you just die. That was horrible. But now in this game, not only is it like the later perk, so you're not going to see people going into Last Stand until over halfway the match, but also they don't pull out their pistol, so they just go down like in Warzone, and they can revive themselves. So it can be pretty annoying, but it's not as intrusive or frustrating as the old Last Stand. And my favorite, the inflatable soldier, which is a field upgrade you could just place. It's like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you could put up inflatable soldiers just like that. They just stand there, and when someone shoots them, like, it does nothing. It just pops. It does explode a little bit, so it does have the potential to kill. And it can even kill while it's appearing. So if you happen to have someone on an enemy on the inflatable soldier, like mine, as it goes up, it will kill them, which is hilarious. But I wish it was a little more useful. There's a similar mechanic in Rainbow Six Siege where one of the characters has a hologram of themselves that they could put. And if an enemy shoots that hologram, it marks like their position. So there's like a punishment for shooting the fake soldier. And I think something like that would be really neat. It would definitely go a far way to making the inflatable soldier actually useful, because why would you choose this over Dead Silence or Munitions Box or any other field upgrade, or the DDoS, which is a new one. I really like that one. And then there's the return of third person. I don't think anyone expected this. Third person was such an afterthought in the OG Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. It was never really polished. I don't even know why they were in those games, to be completely honest, but I remember playing them. It was pretty fun. In this game, it's like really polished. Like it's really fun. Like if you played third person just by itself, you would think that this game was designed for it. It's a really fun mode. And the new mechanics, like dolphin dive in third person, is just so much fun. So is the ledge peek. There is no like over the shoulder aiming. Like, you know, obviously most third person games you aim and it's just over the shoulder. In this game, if you aim, it goes into first person, which I think is a lot better for Call of Duty. And it really makes the new animations for the player characters really stand out. There's like really nice, those animations, really detailed. And I really hope that like a third person playlist in Warzone 2 is permanent, because my opinion, Battle Royale just doesn't really work that well in first person, because Battle Royale is all about you getting shot from literally any angle, and in first person that can be really frustrating, and it was in Warzone. Warzone was pretty fun, but that would get really frustrating, and third person could easily fix that, and it's really polished in this too. So I do hope it's in Warzone 2 as like a separate playlist permanently. And obviously they implemented this so people would buy more skins. I mean, that's obvious. In terms of performance, on PS4, it was like surprisingly well. Like the game looks fine. It looks like pretty much exactly like Modern Warfare 2019 did on PS4. It runs surprisingly well, especially for a beta. The only times it dipped was when like someone got a kill streak and a giant explosion appeared. The frame rate would dip there. But even in Ground War, there were times like it would chug, but like it performed really well. Like Ground War is really big. There's there's AI soldiers, there's vehicles. This is a huge map with like 64 players, and all that on the PS4. It's pretty impressive. All right, so now with the bad, and the main thing, the thing that like it almost ruins the whole game for me. Really, it really does. The UI. The UI is just horrible. It feels like a streaming service, which I did hear that they hired like Hulu UI designers for this, and it makes sense because everything is in a big box. You want to choose a mode, there's a big box. You want to choose your classes, there's a big box. You can only see 4 classes at a time. You have to scroll to see other classes. You know, it's actually funny. Okay, so the lever action marksman rifle in Modern Warfare 2019 is like one of my favorite guns. I love that gun. And I saw it in the weapons menu from Modern Warfare 2 in the beta. I was like, holy shit, this gun came back, let's go. But the level cap like wasn't that high, you know, it was weekend 1, so I couldn't get to it. But I saw people using it. I was like, what the fuck, how are they using it? I want to use it. Is it like a bug? But no, it turns out in the default classes, there's like 6 default classes, but you can only see 4 at a time. So I just didn't scroll to see the other 2 classes. I could have used my favorite gun like in the first match, but I couldn't use it because the UI is just that poor. And that goes for everything. Gunsmith, attachments, you can't see every attachment at once because you have to scroll, because the boxes are so big for like no reason. I think we can all agree that the UI in Call of Duty has gotten really stagnant. Like we've pretty much had the same UI for like 3 years. And it worked. It worked. It was really good UI. But we did need a change, obviously. But this is not the change. This is just like really bad. It's so bad, like to a point where it's just not fun to create a class. It's just not fun to create a class. And that's crazy because it basically uses like the same gunsmith mechanics as Modern Warfare 2019. I spent hours creating my classes, just perfecting them because that system was so good. And now here the UI is like so buggy too. It's really buggy, so poorly designed. I don't want to make classes. I just want to just get them over with. And like the perks, I talked about perks before. Like the system is fine, but like selecting them and the fact that everything is organized into like pre-made packages, I'm sure that's easier for like casual players, but to like actually make your own and edit them is way more cumbersome than you would expect. It's almost comedic. That's definitely the worst part of the game. And in terms of selecting the modes, like I said, this is boxes again. There's boxes. You can't see all the modes at once because it's just boxes. It really makes me concerned in the final game when they're constantly rotating modes, you know, when they have like 8 modes at once that are constantly rotating. I'm gonna have to just scroll through them to see them all. Like that's just horrible. Also the green, I don't really like the green that much. I do agree that seeing blue in Modern Warfare 2019 for 3 years, that I've gotten really tired of that blue. But I don't know if this green is the way. Also, like some of the controls, especially in the gunsmith progression tab, it's just really unintuitive on controller and keyboard and mouse. Like it's so hard to see when you can unlock a gun. You have to go through a bunch of menus and you have to go through these like unintuitive controls just to see what level weapon you need to get to unlock a new weapon. It's weird. And like the new gunsmith system, like the weapon progression and such, that's brand new. And it is a little confusing, but I feel like it wouldn't be that confusing if the UI was good. I feel like I would understand it perfectly. Like at this point, I played every day that the beta was out, and I still don't really understand it because I think it's because the UI is just so bad. The kill streaks also pretty unremarkable. You know, they're mostly back from Modern Warfare 2019. The stealth bomber is pretty cool. I don't think that was in Modern Warfare 2019. But other than that, pretty unremarkable. We should see like the return of some like the dogs. That'd be really awesome. But like other than that, they're just alright. I hope the nuke comes back though. I probably will. It's in Modern Warfare 2019. It'll probably come back. Although I do love that you can switch between score streak and kill streak. There's no just one thing. You can just switch on the fly. That's amazing. Just having the choice like that. That's great. Weapon selection in this beta is kind of lackluster, which I guess is to be expected. But it is weird that most of the guns could not be customized at all. It kind of worries me. There's a lot of things about this beta so close to launch that like kind of worries me. You know, the UI obviously that's like almost unfixable. Also, the weapon selection and the fact that you couldn't customize most of them, that was just really weird to me. I don't remember that being a thing in the Modern Warfare 2019 beta. Like the shotgun, you couldn't customize at all. I think the Fennec SMG is called, you couldn't customize that at all, which is like weird. We should be able to play around with those things like a month before launch, but alright. I do hope the weapons are a lot more varied in the final game. The perk system, I was talking about before, but I'm really going to delve into like how bad it is now sometimes, because like, well, really it's not really bad, but like just the missed potential. Because you think in a perk system where you're like unlocking the perks as the match goes along, you'd expect the last perk to be like really cool, this like really awesome thing, but it's just like kind of things that used to be normal perks, but now you just unlock them later, and that's just really lame. The only new one, I'm pretty sure the only new one is actually Last Stand. I just wish that they came up with more creative perks to have it at the last thing. Maybe not overpowered, but just like different, you know? Just things that would really shake up the match in the last half, which I think was the purpose of this mechanic. So the last half of the game could be anyone's game, you know, because everyone would be a lot more powerful. But I think it should have been a little more creative. There's a new patch now that came out like the day before the beta ended, where they made the progression a lot more faster. And it really like makes you question, like, why have this system in the first place if you're going to unlock the perks in games so fast? I don't know. It just seems like a really questionable thing. And lastly, I want to talk about performance on PC. Surprisingly pretty good. Like, my specs aren't like the top of the line by any means, but I had everything, like, I started off with having everything on high, and it was like over 60 FPS like all the time, maybe a little less in like Ground War, but that's to be expected. Like, it was pretty good, except a lot of times when I first loaded into a map, the game would just be like really stuttery, like unplayable stuttery for like a minute, a solid minute. It was like really bad. I really hope they fix that. Otherwise, the game played like a dream on PC, just like how I remembered in Modern Warfare 2019, except now I can do epic dolphin dives, so that's great. And lastly, I just want to do a little update. You know, summer's ended. You know, if you look at my videos tab, if you look at all the videos before the summertime, my upload schedule was shit. Because, you know, I was busy with school and stuff, and that's going to happen again. I'm going to be uploading a lot less. Which kind of sucks, because my last video was like my best performing video ever. I got a bunch of new subscribers and viewers, so thank you so much. But so yeah, things are going to be slowing down, but I'm always going to be working on something, so don't worry about that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Those are my impressions on new COD. I don't know if I'll buy it day one. I'll probably wait until I see if there's enough content. That's really what it boils down for me, is how much content there is, because the core gameplay has some flaws, but it's really fun. I just need like more content, more guns especially. Yeah, that's it. Bye, subscribe.